Oscar Negrete and Alberto Melian.
I think these bantamweights match up very well. They're close to the same age. Melian is just 1 inch taller. Negrete, although shorter, has the reach advantage.
Jeremiah Gallegos in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, a great night of world professional boxing here from the Fantasy Springs Event Center in Indio, California. This is Golden Boy DAZN Thursday Night Fights, our co-featured attraction of the evening, set for 10 rounds for the vacant WBA International Bantamweight Championship. Brought to you courtesy of Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, live on DAZN and our Golden Boy DAZN television affiliates across the United States, sponsored to you by Hennessy Never Settle. Tonight's co-main attraction is sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, the chairman John Carvelli, executive officer Andy Foster, also sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, WBA President Alberto Mendoza Jr., the WBA supervisor in attendance Carlos Zuc. The 3 judges scoring this contest at ringside are Carla Caiz, Dr. Lumaret, and Ruby Barragan. And inside the ring at the sound of the bell, our championship referee, Ray Corona. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. 10 rounds of action for our title attraction. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner tonight, wearing red with white, he officially weighed in at 117.6 pounds. In 7 professional bouts, his record consists of 6 victories, 4 big wins by way of knockout, and only 1 defeat. Here's the former NABA Super Bantamweight Champion, representando la Pantanera, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Please welcome Alberto Impacto Melian! And across the ring tonight, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the camo trunks, he officially weighed in at 117.4 pounds. Tonight, he makes his return to the ring to battle for championship glory. In 22 professional contests, his record consists of 18 victories, 7 big wins by way of knockout, only 2 defeats, and 2 draws. He's the former NABA Bantamweight champion, fighting out of Chino, California, by way of Tierra Alta, Colombia, Oscar El Jaguar Negrete. And our referee to give the final instructions, Ray Corona.
Let's go, gentlemen. Where's Victor? Aquí está bien. Right here is good. Touch gloves if you want. God bless.
Third man in the ring, Ray Corona from Bassett, California. That's Oscar Negrete, Colombia. Looking at his family as he always does right before the bell. Came up short in his championship fight against Ray Vargas at 122 pounds. Takes on Argentina's Alberto Melian, who loves to paint his hair. Dye his hair, to get that right. Before every bout, the Argentinian who trains at Churchill Boxing here in Southern California. Negrete trained by Manny Robles. Negrete will swarm you, he'll smother you, he'll bother you. And Doug, that's just one thing about him.
He's a rough guy.
At the same time.
Yeah, he has a reputation in the gyms here in Southern California, being a rough and rugged dude in sparring. He doesn't have punching power, but he takes a good punch, just like Melian does. And he makes up for the deficit in punching power with sheer volume. And the more experienced he's become as a professional, the better his punch selection has been. In fact, that rematch that he had with Joshua Franco, I love the punch selection as well as the aggression and the pressure and the volume punching against Franco. And I actually thought he won that fight, even though he lost it on the scorecards. And actually, all 3 of those fights contested one right after the other. They could have gone his way. I mean, they could have gone either way to either guy, but it's sort of a deceiving statistic that he's winless in his last 3, because those could have been wins.
And sometimes, you know,
opponents can look at that as thinking, okay, he's, you know, I can get the guy. He's not, but they don't know that it's tougher than what it looks.
Right. They can look at that stat. If they just go to BoxRec and look at that, and they can think, oh, this guy's on the slide. You know, he doesn't even care about his career anymore. But no, he was in those fights, and he was very strong in those fights. And you know, I think both guys, both bantamweights, grew from that 3-fight series. I mean, they both had to raise their level each time they fought each other.
That was against the Professor Joshua Franco, a Golden prospect. These two know each other. 10 years ago, they fought in the South American Games. Negrete says he won, but he says we're both different fighters now. Melian, at the age of 30, only has 7 pro fights because he went to the Olympics twice, 2012 and 16. And who did he lose to in 16? The man who just became the new champion in 122, MJ.
Akhmadaliev. I know I'm butchering that, and I apologize to everybody, especially Uzbekistan.
And Ryan Ruka did a great job saying his name on that fight against Danny Roman. Ryan Ruka, a talented young broadcaster.
That was a tremendous fight. I'm expecting a hotly contested 10 rounds in the bantamweight division tonight. These guys match up very well. I think Milan has power that Negrete lacks. Negrete has more professional experience. I think Melian was the more decorated amateur. Both guys have great chins. I think it's going to go the distance, and it's just going to be, they're just going to go at it.
La Puerta Negra is jamming Tigres del Norte, and I'm sure they want to know about the keys to this fight.
All right, for Oscar Negrete, I think he needs to cut the ring off. He needs to work the body, and he needs to focus on speed and volume, not to worry too much about loading up. But definitely, he wants to get inside where he can outwork Melian. Melian is somebody who is a punch-on-the-fly specialist. He likes to move about the ring.
Alberto, respira.
His opponent, Melian.
So Alberto Melian, he needs to establish his jab. He needs to use lateral movement, which means he needs to get back a little bit more to his amateur style. I think when he turned pro, he had a goal of winning a world title in his first 10 bouts, and he was very aggressive, and I think that's one of the reasons why he lost his fight with Leonardo Baez. But he needs to set traps in there because he does have the power. If he plants his feet and if he sets that power up, and he can, you know, if he's able to walk Negrete into the big shots, he may not hurt Negrete because Negrete's got a good beard, but it's going to be an eye-catching punch that gets the attention of the official judges.
And you're right, setting those traps is going to be key because he can just sit back and he can use that jab and wait for the opportunities and pick his spots.
Melian cut on the right eyebrow. Ray Corona coming over to let us know that as a result of a punch. They're at the end of the first round. Negrete from Colombia in the United States was initially working with Leo Santa Cruz's dad. And then 9 fights ago, because Leo is Leo Santa Cruz and the champion needs attention, Negrete was getting it, connected with Manny Robles. They've been together, this is now their 10th fight. Worked well, and Manny will use Negrete to spar anybody. He's sparred Austin Valdez, he's fought the young guys, anybody who's there. Negrete has sparred you, and B-Hop, I've been there a couple times, Doug has been also. Guys hate it because he's that veteran that'll, while you're sparring, will hit you on the leg, give you that dead leg,
hip,
the hip, all that other stuff.
And everywhere else. So, I mean, that's that veteran. That veteran know how to win, and he know what to do, when to do it. And that's part of learning the sweet science.
Please step back.
And sometimes it's not sweet. Sometimes
Yeah, that's the not so sweet sign.
I figured I had to throw that in there also.
I saw Sal Sanchez, who fights for Thompson Boxing, a young prospect that they have, who was sparring Negrete. I'm like, hey, you missed sparring with Negrete. He's not here with Joe Diaz. Listen, I hate that guy. They love him, but they hate him because of that. That just breeds a different attitude, doesn't it?
It does, and it also makes the other guy think, like, wait a minute, like, where is it coming from? So it can sort of take you off your game if you're fighting that type of mentality that's going to hit you in the hip, that's going to hit you, you know, wherever he needs to get your attention. And yes, it can hurt, it can be painful.
Yeah, and I think it behooves Negrete to make this as rough and tumble as he can. Although he's able to time that overhand right of his, and we saw it earlier in this round. From the outside, he's able to time that right and land it flush.
30 seconds to go in the second round. This is scheduled for 10. Our co-main working toward Ricardo Sandoval, Raymond Tabugan. Main event in the flyweights. Body work from Negrete. And that right there, that's that Negrete's there where he'll hold you and then push you and then land one.
And that's where he's best at, and I think that's where we should keep work right there. Keep that work right there. Continue to throw punches.
Negrete's last 5 fights, they don't look good, but he's been competitive in them.
And it's been, you know, even the weak link of this 5, Olguin, is a seasoned veteran journeyman who sometimes is a spoiler. And the others are not wins. They're either draws or losses, but it's Joshua Franco, who is actually, you know, better, you called him a prospect. He's no longer a prospect.
Right.
He's a contender
now, right?
And Ray Vargas, who's arguably the top 122-pounder out there, the WBC champion at super bantamweight.
And his opponent, Alberto Melian, Juan Cantun was, let's build some confidence back up to you. Leo Baez, that was a fight here in this venue at 122 pounds. Isaac Zarate, who's a gatekeeper now. We've seen him a lot on the Thompson shows.
He's a spoiler.
And Zarate was, in many people's eyes at the forum, beat him.
Yeah. Didn't Zarate score a knockdown?
Yes, he did, towards the end. So, I know if you look at Alberto Melian, there's going to be the Argentinian Lomachenko. That's what it was when he was coming out of the Olympics.
True.
And, yeah, that's been curtailed a lot. The pro game's so different, right, Beyond?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, when you hit that level of professionalism, I mean, you fight like a pro, you still think like a pro, and you're not as that amateur, just, you know, using a lot of energy, just throwing punches based on points. I mean, you need points here, but it's more meaningful shots that you really trying to let your guy respect you.
Action starting to pick up here in the third. Melian went back for the 2016 Olympics thinking he could win gold. Trade up a bit.
And now we're seeing some pro style from Melian. He's sitting on his punches and he's coming forward, and I think he needs to do that.
And you just
working.
Right, you see a little shove to get off and get some space. He's creating space so he can let those hands go. Because he's, to me, he's the slimmer guy, the leaner guy. So he needs to get at least some foot or two away and let that punches go, let the punches fly.
Negrete with 22 pro fights, Melian 7, and 4 of those were pretty easy the first round. So the professional ring experience, Bernard, am I making too much of a big deal about that? Or?
No, I mean that's part of positioning and getting in that dominant position to win the round, and of course you want to win the fight. Yes, it's not a overstretching any means, but it's just what it needs to be done by both guys.
And this is the kind of fight we're going to expect. Just stand right next to each other, nose to nose. This is an Oscar Negrete fight.
Right, and they're not easy to score.
They're not even the broadcast. I go through all my notes with him.
Because both guys are trading, and even the punches that hit the body, they're not actually hitting the face or hitting anywhere where you think they get a point for it. But this is gritty. This is that, you know, conditioning type of action here. Who's in condition is going to be the lead until the fight's over, because condition is important when you fight this way.
I think through 2 minutes and 10 seconds, this is Melian's round. He's taken the initiative, and I think the punches that he's landed have landed with more authority than Negrete's. Negrete's remaining game, but I think he's less effective when he's pushed back on his heels and forced against the ropes as he is right now.
Not where Negrete wants to be, as he lands right.
He threw it 1-2, good 1-2 that really was an effective punch. Snapped the head back.
One thing about Negrete, no matter where he is in the ring, he's going to be comfortable. He's comfortable in the trenches, he's comfortable coming forward, he's comfortable when somebody's putting a lot of heat on him, as Melian is right now.
Let go of him, pull your arm out. Tempo!
Negrete going back to his corner, the hand up. The bantamweight division has been heating up.
Positioning.
I could be number 10.
Yes.
I could be number 9. I mean, Inoue's coming off a loss to our number 2 rated contender, the WBC champion, Nordine Ubali. But what I like about the 118-pound division is those guys all fought each other. Inoue fought Emmanuel Rodriguez in the World Boxing Super Series. He beat Donaire in the 2019 Fight of the Year in the finals of the WBSS. Inoue's little brother fought Ubali. Tete just fought Donreal Casamillero. Jason Maloney, he fought Rodriguez. All those guys you see in the top 10, they're all fighting each other. And that's good news for the winner of this fight. That the top fighters are looking for opponents, are looking for other top guys to fight.
Melian cut on the bridge of the nose from a punch, Ray Corona told us.
Right. I think it was a right hand, a sharp right hand that created that cut.
Melian's a gritty guy. I don't think that's going to bother him at all. It's not in a bad place, even if it was a cut over his eye, it was into his eye. He's got a lot of heart. Even in that loss to Baez, where he was soundly outworked, round after round after round, he kept swinging to the final bell. Against Zarate, when he was dropped, he gets up and he takes the fight to his antagonist. He's just got that kind of a mentality.
These two were fighting at 122. Lost. Decided to come back down to 118 because that's the division is the division. Right? This is where they belong. You've seen the wrinkles from Melian switching to southpaw. Negrete different looks. But they're right above us. Negrete on the ropes. I know Manny Robles does not want him.
And he's right on top of us. You can see punches that's getting blocked and punches that's getting through. And this is great action inside. Both guys are throwing punches to get the other's attention.
Ray Corona giving a lot of instructions. They hear him, they just don't listen. Back in the middle of the ring. Melian being the aggressor, taking the lead.
And this round is a close round of score for me. I mean, how you see it, Doug?
I give a slight edge to Melian because he was the aggressor, and I thought he got some decent work done when he had Negrete up against the ropes, but Negrete answered back when he got off the ropes. That was a nice one too. He puts his punches together really nice. A moment ago, he went down to the body. I think he needs to keep doing that throughout this fight. It'll pay dividends later in the bout. But I knew it was going to be hotly contested in every round. This is exactly what I expected.
Every round, every second. The fourth round, winding down, scheduled for 10. Oscar Negrete, Alberto Melian, some blood is flying right above us. Jessica Rosales, our ringside reporter, working. What do you got, Jess?
You know, let's talk about that overhand right that Negrete has. Obviously, Melian's team wants him to be very vigilant about that. We saw in the second round when Negrete had him in the corner, he caught him with that same punch. And Melian's corner was actually saying that same punch, it's that right hand. They were getting a little frustrated there about it. Now, Negrete's team in his corner, they're telling me, yeah, they like that punch, but what they would like to see more is him setting it up with the jab, then throwing the overhand and following it with the uppercut. They said, listen, we know that Negrete is a pressure fighter. He's got one gear. He's doing good right now, but he's just got to stick with it throughout the fight.
Good info, Jessica. Dougie Fisher. Dougie Soluggi. Let's look at your scorecard.
I got it even, 38-38 after 4 rounds. The first 2 rounds were for Oscar Negrete. I thought he soundly outworked Melian in the first 6 minutes, and over the last 6 minutes, rounds 3 and 4, I thought Melian has been the aggressor, and he's landed the quality punches.
DJ Ray on the 1s and 2s between rounds. And Rob knows, appreciates him listening to Puerto Negro, Tragos Amargos, some Manages jam. And these two are just back and forth. Alberto Melian in the red. Oscar Negrete. Manny Robles talking briefly before he walked out. He said, my fighter needs to box and be first. Hasn't done that the last couple of rounds.
No, he's falling into the trenches a little bit too much. He's usually good in the trenches, but this guy's got an engine just like he does. And this guy seems to be a little bit stronger physically.
Yeah, he got sucked into a fight in the phone booth. And, you know, I think he's going to pay a price later on, 3 rounds from now, because you see that he's starting to fight in close but not really getting the punches in, and it takes a lot of energy from you if you're missing punches and not connected.
Now let me offer an X factor. Maybe Melian is getting the better of these exchanges on the inside, or at least it looks that way. But Negrete is very good. He has a high guard. He's very good at blocking punches on his forearms and his elbows, and his biceps and shoulders. And some of these his return punches are not as hard as Melian's, but I don't think Melian's skin is as good as Negrete's. And you look at Melian's face, it's lumping up already. You're seeing some swelling. He's already got the cut above the bridge of the nose. And my guess is around the eyes, it's probably a little more tender than it is with Negrete.
I was cut in the first round.
Yeah, definitely by facial appearance, you know, he's looked like he's getting battered. And that's just because of the, like you said, the texture of his skin. And he's getting hit with some good punches.
Yeah, the texture of Melian's skin, but also his bone structure, you know, his skull structure, the cheekbones and all that. So this is just round 5, right? So what's he going to look like if this keeps going? Exactly.
And the way he's fighting too, Doug, he's fighting in close, where he's not trying to protect it with the jab and set something up from the outside. He's still fighting close like it's not even there, and that could be a negative to him as the round goes on.
Yeah, and Negrete is very sneaky on the inside. Like I said, he defends well. Even if it looks like he's being outworked or getting hit, he's blocking a lot of shots, and he's very sneaky with his return fire.
He slips a lot, too.
Yes, he does. Well, he didn't slip that right hand, no.
Best punch of the night
They was throwing punches at the same time, and that's why the punch got in. Normally, that punch wouldn't have got in because, Doug, you mentioned, look at his hands up all the time.
Yeah. And Melian keeps his hands down by his waist. That's just that's his style. That's a hard round to score right there.
Swelling underneath the eyes and the nose of the Argentinian Alberto Melian.
Respire.
Breathe,
Escúchame.
breathe.
No podemos ir al frente y tirar. Escúchame. Escúchame, Alberto. Esa derecha está sentadito. Háblame ahí.
Let's see, a left hook, partially blocked. Left hook to the body that Melian got through to Negrete. There's a nice jab from Melian, followed by a left hook to the ear that knocks Negrete off balance.
Chaveando. Vamos a chavear. Vamos a chavear.
You need that minute to breathe. These two are just back and forth. Fun fight. They're just all over each other.
Yeah.
Tim Boxell says, hey, I'm liking it.
Fast pace. There's a slip.
But Negrete did try to sell it though, right?
I mean, he threw the punch as long as same time he was getting off balance. I mean, he put his arms up, hoping thinking the referee didn't see it, but the referee was on it.
Overhead right from Negrete. Just Gonzalez telling Melian, watch out for that.
I like that Negrete is working the jab from mid-range. He needs more of that. I'd like to see him step around with that jab, as a matter of fact, and create openings for the straight right.
Good overhand right.
And that's because he came in a little close. If he stayed just in the range where that jab can be extended, he would not get hit with a counter right hand.
Negrete moving around. They're giving each other space finally?
Yeah.
Kind of.
I think it's about time for Negrete.
Uppercut to the nose.
But what Negrete is doing with this lateral movement is kind of taking a page from Melian's book. That's usually how Melian fights. He likes to punch on the fly. And Negrete is showing that he can do it.
Completely different approach here in the 6th from what we saw in the first fight from Oscar Negrete, the Colombian. Córdoba. El Jaguar is his nickname. And the left hook.
Good left hook. I mean, he's doubling up on that left hook because he's sitting back waiting for that counter punch to happen.
Well time.
Right from
Yeah,
Negrete.
that cross was beautiful. And Negrete's letting his hands go just as Melian is starting to load up with his own punches. And beating him to the punch. Obviously.
Less than a minute to go in the 6th round. Strong round for Oscar Negrete. He's changed up strategy.
And he's showing when he gives himself a little bit of distance and gets that jab going, he's able to land flush punches from the outside and mid-range.
Melian swinging and missing a lot this round. Oh! And he eats a left hook.
And he got buzzed with that left hook. That left hook got his attention.
Yeah, and you can tell because he's holding on right now. Well done, Negrete.
Melian looking at his corner with 30 seconds to go. His corner yelling at him, throw punches.
He's kind of rocky. One good punch might send him on quiz street.
Another flush right hand.
In the corner. 10 seconds to go. Excellent round. The best one of the night for Oscar Negrete. Here in the 6th, is scheduled for 10. The bantamweights going at it. Thursday night fights. Brought to you by DAZN. Let's look at some replays from that strong 6 for the Colombian.
There's an uppercut that missed from Melian, and he walked right into that overhand right from Negrete. Negrete followed that up with a left uppercut. There's a beautiful right uppercut landed by Melian, but Negrete comes right back with the left hook, and that's because of the hand placement of Melian. He never brings his hands back to his face.
Jessica Rosales, where are you at?
You know, Beto, you called it when you said that Melian was looking over at his corner. His corner's been telling him that he needs to work the body on Oscar Negrete. One thing they're noticing is the impact that Melian's punches are having when he does go to the body. So when he looked over at them, they were telling him, it's time to work. He doesn't like it, and you need to start doubling up on those punches when you're working the body.
You need to throw. Vamos.
Wipe it down.
Abraham Gonzalez watching in New York. Proud Marine. Says, sheesh, what a tough fight.
Hey,
we're approaching 1,000 punches.
I need a towel over here. Dry this up. Dry this up.
Don't get Ray Corona, man.
No, that ice can make one of those guys slip as they throw punches because of the foot traction.
But don't you do that on purpose sometimes to buy your guy a couple seconds?
Well, if you're smart, you do it because you see your guy needs it. But, you know, referee still has to make sure everybody's safe.
Commissions are hip to that, too. They look for that.
And they find you sometimes.
Oh, no, they warn you about that. Yeah, they warn you about that at the weigh-in. Don't pull that crap.
Adam Bronovitz, Saturday Night Boxing, says, hey, good left hooks by Negrete.
Yes.
Punches landed by round. Close.
Yes, it is. It's a close contest. I scored round 5 even, and obviously round 6 went to Negrete. I think he found something with the stick and move strategy.
And there are some tough rounds to score. I mean, not, you know, it's a few rounds that you can go either way because both guys really gave it to each other.
Yeah, like I said, that 5th round, I scored it even. It could have gone either way. That 10th round, and I only had Negrete up by 1 point.
Yeah,
so.
do you judge by the good defense, and then you got to look at the offense also because both guys are really showing the skills on both ends, defense and offense.
With the white gloves. Shot from Melian. He keeps clawing at his gloves.
Yeah, it's bothering him.
Well, it was bleeding in the corner. It was bleeding when he got out of the corner. I mean, it might be fractured, it might be broken, but he definitely got hit with some good punches early in the fight.
Since the first round, Melian, I don't think we've seen many combinations from him in the last couple rounds. Have we been throwing one at a time?
No, what he does is he paws. He switch hits, he switch stances. He'll paw a couple times from the orthodox stance and then drop a hard right hand, and then he switches to southpaw and he paws with his right hand and he drops a hard left hand. We don't see like a crisp jab from him, and yeah, you don't see 2, 3, and 4 punch combinations.
You do everything to confuse you.
Right.
He switches up when he really don't have to.
He wants to keep you guessing, and exactly. He doesn't want you to kind of pick up on his rhythm, his style. And, it works for him, but it also detracts from him. I think he could get more work done if he was very orthodox in his approach.
Stop! Take a step back.
He's not having a bad 7th round.
hand from Negrete. Jab. Melian bouncing around. Final seconds of the 7. Pushes it back. Negrete jumps in there like Negrete puts his hand up after every round like he just won it. Mikey Garcia style right there. Don't give him distance.
No me le deje distancia, ¿entendió? Adentro, vamos, vamos.
No distance, stay inside.
Get it.
Move that way, says Manny Robles' instructions to Oscar Negrete.
That's interesting because I thought he did well in round 6 by giving himself some distance.
And let his hands go more than the previous rounds where he just busier to me.
Yeah. But maybe Robles sees something in Melian. Maybe he says, okay, Melian is slowing down, he's wearing down, so maybe we can take over this fight physically.
On the last couple of rounds, Doug, we noticed Melian kept his mouth wide open.
Yeah.
Gasping for air.
Yeah.
I mean, both fighters threw a lot of punches. I mean, Cali Boxers showed they threw a lot of punches because one is coming forward, one got to keep them off. I mean, you look at both guys fighting their best ways of stop.
It's Negrete with the combinations. And I like that he worked his way in with a nice crisp jab.
And he finished with the jab, and that's key because he's keeping it in range of letting that right hand go eventually. Good left hook. Oh, good uppercut.
Negrete, an interesting part of his career. As he's gotten older, in his 30s. 1-2-2 in his last 5 fights. And Jessica Rosales has more.
You know, we did talk about Melian and that cut that he has on his nose, how he's kind of pawing at it. I talked to his corner right now to see if he said anything about that. What happened is actually during sparring, there was a headbutt that cut the nose. So during this fight, it just kind of reopened that cut. They're not concerned about it. They're not worried about it. He said it's not bothering him. The one thing, though, is that he does need to stay busy. They need to see him doing more work in the ring.
Great info right there. Came into the fight with a wound.
It happens.
And being on your nose is not something that you go look at as if it was on the eye. So the nose, okay, but not the eye, and that's why the fight went on. But we know doctors look at it before then, so he was cleared. That's why he's fighting.
What about you though, as a fighter, knowing that it's probably going to cut? Do you worry about it? Or?
Well, you try not to, but it's got to be on your mind because every punch that you get hit with, you wonder if it's bleeding now. And then you might feel something, and it might be sweat, but it's blood. So yeah, it's in your mind.
You're going to get a guy like Negrete who just smothers you. He's like a gnat. Last thing you do is some thinking about a cut.
Negrete is doing some really good work here in round 8.
He's chopping him up systematically. Look at the punch here. 2 or 3 punches straight down the middle. Seem more fresher. Seem more. You know,
I was about to say that. Yeah, he seems like he's the sharper of the two.
He's covering up, keeping those white Everlast gloves, deflecting punches. His corner's yelling at him like, yeah, it's good, but they're not landing flush. In the final seconds of the 8th round, Argentina, Colombia, rematch from 10 years ago in the amateurs. Negrete continues to put their hand up. And a lot of fight fans out there, and one of them who passed away in a sad helicopter accident. Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and 7 others. Kobe was a big fight fan. I covered the Lakers for a lot of years for ESPN Radio and got to know him. Once he knew I started working boxing a little bit, he'd ask about Manny Pacquiao, he'd ask about Floyd. And when Floyd would show up at Staples Center for a game, Floyd would stand up looking at Kobe. And Kobe would be like, yeah, I'll go over there eventually. So during timeouts, he'd talk to him. So I remember Andre Berto would come over. Manny was there. And anytime they go there, and Kobe would ask these guys about it. So he knew the sport of boxing, and Meta World Peace was talking about it. So he followed it, respected it, and he was friends with Oscar De La Hoya.
Sure.
So rest in peace, Kobe and Gigi.
Yeah, right outside of Philly, Lord Marion High School, right? Like 30 minutes outside of Philly. So, you know, the GOAT.
Just sad. The families here in the ninth round. Oscar Negrete and Alberto Melian, as I was saying. Negrete's in that interesting part of his career, though, because his last 5 fights, 1, 2, 2. And what do you do with him? He's not a prospect. He's fought for a world title. Does he, if he loses, does he become a gatekeeper dog?
Yeah, if he loses this, definitely becomes a stepping stone.
But that's still an opportunity for him.
Sure.
Like the gatekeeper mentality. And we've seen upset happens in history where their gatekeeper became somebody that...
Rene Alvarado
That's your worst nightmare.
He would be a very dangerous gatekeeper. He would be a slippery stepping stone because of that chin, his experience, all the different wrinkles to his game, and of course that engine of his, the ability to throw 100 punches around.
And Melian, on the flip side, only 7 pro fights, but he's 30.
Right.
A lot of hype, a lot of build-up.
But he's 30.
He just ate a nice right hand from Negrete.
That was a good straight
Sorry to interrupt you guys,
I'm
but
glad you did. It was a good straight right hand.
I can't help but react like that.
You beat me to the response.
But you're right, B-Hop, he's 30. What are you doing with this guy?
I mean, you gotta get in when you fit in. That with him, you gotta be very, very strategic and get the right matches that's going to speed him up quicker than the norm because he's 30. I mean, age could be a factor here. It will be.
Saludos a toda la gente que nos está mirando en Argentina, como Neri Romero, fan de Boca, que lo van a Racing. Saw Marcelino Nino Lopez earlier today.
Oh, really?
Argentina, training with Joel Diaz.
He's a fan-friendly fighter from Argentina. Was he a junior welterweight? Yep. Yeah, he's fun. Melian he remains game. He's still in this fight, but his form has dropped off so much in the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 rounds.
And you guys were saying it on the 5th, the conditioning factor. It's going to come down to in the 8th and 9th, 10th rounds, and we're seeing it right now.
But also, as we pointed out, in those rounds 3, 4, and even 5, when Melian was having success, or at least that was the optics of it, when he was pressing Negrete up against the ropes and loading up with these power shots, Negrete was resting, he stayed calm, and he blocked a lot of those shots. And at the same time, he was landing his shots. So maybe Melian wore himself out a little bit, even in those rounds that he won.
On top of the cuts in the blood and continue to be pressured as he's been pressured now.
He heads in the 10th and final round, and Negrete still puts up that hand like he's won every round.
All right. Beautiful right hand landed by Negrete from the outside. Nice jab. Connects for Negrete. Melian working his jab, but the way he keeps his hands down, he's right in line for that right hand, and has been all fight.
Yeah, because it's been thrown out there lazy, he's not snapping it, and he can get countered, and she'll get countered more if the corner's watching it along with the fighter.
As we head to the 10th round, Doug Fisher, how are you scoring this one?
I think Oscar Negrete has taken over since the 6th round.
Really?
The 7th round was competitive. Maybe you can argue that fight could have gone Melian's way, but definitely rounds 8 and 9, strong rounds for Oscar Negrete.
And we appreciate all the tweets that are coming through from everybody. We do read them. Good scrap, 10th and final round. Oscar Negrete with the white gloves. Melian in
Good
red.
uppercut, good uppercut. Good right hand uppercut. All of a sudden energy, that means more energy from both guys now. Because they realize that, look, this is the last round. They don't believe they're losing, so they're letting both hands go. This is an action fight.
So many close rounds. The last few, it's been Negrete pulling away, Doug Fisher would say. But what does Melian have? 2-time Olympian. What can he get out of the tank? Negrete's fought for a world title, so he's been in the deep waters. punches landed by round.
Melian outpunched, at least according to the statistics, that he outpunched Negrete in round 9. I still had that round 9 from Negrete.
Right hand, overhand right, that was there earlier.
Yeah, and it's probably because of punches like that. Negrete is landing these eye-catching punches from the outside and mid-range, and they're landing flush.
And clean.
They're clean punches, and his technique is better than Melian's. But, you know, just because I've got Negrete ahead of my very unofficial scorecard, that doesn't mean that's what the 3 official judges have. And we've seen more than once where Negrete thought that he was in firm command of a fight. And some people like myself agreed with them, and that's not what happened when the official verdict was read. And I think that's the curse of fighters that don't have a lot of punching power. They can't score knockdowns or aren't able to score stoppages. You know, sometimes they don't get credit.
You don't do anything to separate yourself.
Right. When the other guy maybe his technique is sloppier or is not as good as a boxer, but he's throwing with more leverage, and when he lands, it's louder, and the judges take note of that. But you want to see a guy like Negrete get credit because he works so hard. And you know he has to train and condition his body so well to be able to fight with this style.
We're going to see Negrete forever. Because when he's not training, he goes to the gym and he's working the other guys sparring.
Yeah, that's true.
He's doing mitts for people. He's become the 3rd coach for Manny Robles.
I like that.
And he said, when I'm done, I'm going to be a trainer. He goes, boxing is everything for me. He's going to be the guy we're going to see with like a toothpick and a white towel walking around. And remember, Doug, you called my fight 40 years ago?
I mean, he's got the experience. I'm sure there's a lot of knowledge that he can impart.
10 rounds, and the Bucks will come back with the decision as Estrellita picks up his fighter, Oscar Negrete. The distance, the bantamweights, look at the highlights between Melian and Negrete.
Non-stop action. There's some good body work from Melian early on, and the overhand right. That was a money punch from Negrete. He landed it in almost every round. It's what gave him the edge in the majority rounds on my very unofficial scorecard. Melian switched tactics in the middle rounds, put pressure on Negrete, put him up against the ropes. Negrete was dangerous off the ropes, though. Very crafty, especially when he would get off those ropes. That was a nice left hook from Negrete. And then in the center of the ring, it was Negrete often beating Melian to the punch and landing the combinations.
They threw a lot. Let's check out the punch stats for this one between Negrete and Melian. Final numbers. Wow.
Melian was a workhorse in there. Did not land at as high of a percentage as Negrete connected with. Negrete not throwing as much, but definitely landing more. Much higher punch connect percentage across the board.
Only 11 jabs landed by Melian. Jeremiah Gallegos has our decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 exciting championship rounds, let's give these 2 South American warriors a big round of applause. And now we go to the judges' scorecard. Here are the totals. Judge Carla Caiz has the bout 97-93. Dr. Lubaret and Rudy Barragan have it 98-92. For your winner by unanimous decision and crowned the new WBA International Bantamweight Champion, the fighting pride of Tierra Alta, Colombia, Oscar El Jaguar Negrete.
El Jaguar Negrete, unanimous decision, separated himself on the cards. The ace of SoCal said it, he bet it, he got the Colombian, and he got the victory over the 2-time Olympian Alberto Melian. A rematch from 10 years ago, so now Negrete is 2-0 against the Argentinian.
And you like to see him get credit for his hard work round after round by the official judges, and it's about time that he got a significant victory. I'm very happy for him.
Ready fight in the booth, well deserved.
Trainer Manny Robles gives him that belt and his baby. The main event coming up.